Towing a cooler full of soft drinks, a group of Army and Navy veterans returns to shore after spending the day out on Kings Bay on Florida's Nature Coast.
I'm with the veterans group here, and we come out once a year to see just to commute, to have fellowship, and just to be at ease, peace of mind.
That's Charles Hutton, a Navy veteran and frequent visitor to Kings Bay, which is about 90 minutes north of Tampa. Kings Bay is the second largest natural aquifer in the state of Florida, after the Everglades, meaning the water stays a crystal clear 72 degrees year-round. It's also where the city of Crystal River gets its name. Tourists like Hutton travel to the warm, blue-green waters of Kings Bay for one key reason.
You know, they don't have to put on airs, they don't have to show off for anybody. They're there, they're living free, they're living natural, and I think that's the appeal of it all.
Really gentle creatures?
Really gentle creatures, yes. I think that sums it up.
Hutton is talking about the biggest natural attraction the Nature Coast has to offer, the manatee. Veteran James Osa.
They're gentle giants. They're absolutely magnificent. The more you spend time with them, the more you can appreciate their majesty. They're just incredible.
Osa says it was one particular experience with a baby manatee, or calf, that keeps him coming back every year.
In fact, what got me here years ago, I was canoeing, and a little baby manatee came up to me, like a little puppy dog came up to me. I started petting it. That was the beginning of a love affair of this place. It's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
But comments like these have pushed members of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to enact new emergency guidelines, which regulate the way manatees and humans interact. Michael Lusk is the refuge manager of the Chassahowitzka National Wildlife Refuge in Crystal River.
For a number of years, we've had guidelines in place for viewing manatees, but those were all really sort of voluntary. What this does, it makes those a matter of law. It sort of codifies them so that now we can enforce them as law and not just voluntary.
The recent cold snap that brought Florida chillier weather is also bringing the manatees back to the warm waters of the bay, meaning more tourists and an increased chance of people harassing manatees.
So the question is, well, how do you define harassment? And what this does, it helps the officers give them very clear definitions of what people can and can't do. Whereas before, you know, it was a little more gray area.
But some local dive shop owners are not on board with these new, stricter emergency rules.
The definition of harassment is wide. I mean, for some it's going between a mother and a calf, but our guests and everybody else's guests know that. The average person doesn't.
Carl Gresbian is the owner of Adventure Diving in Crystal River, a dive shop that provides chartered snorkeling and dive trips out to Kings Bay, allowing guests up-close manatee encounters.
Tour operators here have a vested interest in keeping people coming here, and they are not, to my knowledge, committing any violations intentionally. They are not going to cut off their nose to spite their face.
Gresbian says the main problem is not with the dive shop owners, but with residents and outside visitors who use their own boats to see the manatees.
There may be violations. I have not personally seen any, but they may be occurring from civilians coming here who don't have to go through the regulatory process. They don't have to watch a video. They can simply come here and use their own boats. And there really isn't any education process for the person showing up here with their own boat.
Before he takes anyone out on the water to see the manatees firsthand, Gresbian says he always makes sure to explain the do's and don'ts regarding manatees.
All the dive centers and all the manatee tour centers have a formal thing that they have to do, and that includes showing a video and educating the people, the guest, on the rules and regulations that have been established. But the person coming in who's not doing a formal tour, it doesn't have to be introduced to that, doesn't have to follow any of those things.
While Orlando's main tourist attraction is the mouse, Crystal River's biggest draw continues to be the manatee. A fact that weighs heavy on Josh Wooten, President and CEO of the Citrus County Chamber of Commerce.
I don't think, especially during this economy, that we need more government regulation. Citrus County knows how valuable the manatee is, and we have had a love affair with the manatee here. And I think that our guides do a very good job of protecting the manatee, and the government does a very good job of protecting the manatee. I do not see where we need to increase regulation.
Wooten and other business owners are making waves because they say enforcement of the new emergency guidelines will cause Citrus County to lose millions in revenue.
Given that manatees are such a huge attraction, a reason people come to this area, if you're further restricting interacting with them, we would stand to lose millions of dollars during each season.
Although Wooten believes more regulations will hurt local businesses, Refuge Manager Lusk says it's actually to their benefit.
We want people to understand what we're trying to do here is for both the benefit of the manatees primarily, but also for the local people as well and the local economy. We don't want to be seen as, the heavy-handed federal government coming in and stopping this, but rather we want it to see as we are it's our responsibility to protect the manatees first and foremost, but if there's a way then we can allow public participation, that's what we're trying to do. And we think that's possible. We think there's a middle ground here, and so that's what we're aiming for.
With colder temperatures to come, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is anxious to educate all parties on the new manatee guidelines. Agency officials say they're trying to make sure the manatee, which is Crystal River's bread and butter, will continue to survive and in turn continue to draw visitors from around the globe for years to come. For WUFT-FM, I'm Trent Kelly.